What's up, guys? If you've been following this series, you'll know that we made a logo in Figma. Then we jumped into Spline to actually make this logo more sexy in 3D. Then what we're going to do is we're actually going to animate this logo. We're going to do something like this. Then what we're going to do is we're actually going to export those files, PNGs, videos, and also embed it on a website. And then the fifth video I'm going to make today is this. We've got a embedded file that is responsive depending on the screen size, and it also has a nice little animation. Okay, let's get into this video. So if you watched the last video, we made this. If you don't know what the hell's going on, go watch the last video. Okay, so we've got this now, and we want to do an animation because this is cool, and it animates if we drag this around. Maybe we want this effect on a website, maybe we don't, but you know, we could actually just create an animation, record that as a video, and then upload that to the website, use that for social. You can do all sorts of stuff. So how do we animate this? Well, what we've got here is we've got the logo itself, which has a star and has a circle. Okay, then we've got this text and all these individual letters here. Now we can move these individual letters around very easily by just changing the positions. But let's say we focus on the logo to start with. We've got this star, and again, this star can move. We can change the axes. You see how that's affecting the mat cap? So cool. But what I want to do is actually make this star spin within the logo itself, okay? So the problem that I had initially when I was practicing this video was that you see how you've got the pivot point in the top left here. So why is that annoying? Because if I was to do animations, say I was to go to the states on the right, so this is how you do animations. You click this plus icon, and then you've got the base state and the state. Now, if I wanted to rotate this on the y-axis 360, then what we can do is we can click transition, star, current, 5 seconds, and it's transitioning there. The problem with this, though, is that you've essentially got the pivot point in the top left when we want it to be in the middle. So that all the animations, when I say change 360, I want it to go from the middle, not from the top left, if that makes sense. What you can do is if you drag this out, and let's actually change this out of the group just so we can see it a lot better. Change that in there. So it's out of all groups now, this star. If we double click on it, we can see all these pivot points here. Okay. Now what we can do, here is if we then highlight all these pivot points, we can then move one of these, and it will actually change the position of this pivot point. But how the hell do you know where it's moving? Well, this is something that I also asked myself while I was trying to figure all this out. What you can do is you can put a circle, and let's make this circle quite small, and let's make sure that it's okay, so it's there, this circle. Let's make it bright pink just so we can see what the hell's going on. Okay, so pink circle there. I promise this is relevant. Now I'm going to make this 0, 0 in the position. I'm also going to do the same with this. I'm going to get rid of the animation I just did. 0, 0, 0. Okay, so we've now got all of this in the way. Let's move that out the way. And you see we've got, okay, the pink dot is now in the top left because it's position 0 and it's centrally, its pivot point is in the middle. For the path, it's seemingly in the top left. Very annoying, but we can change that. So we've now got this circle here. If I click on the star, and I actually change the intensity of that the opacity, that's now 30. I'm going to change that to pink just so we see it. Now what we can do is we can actually align this circle to the middle of this star. Click on your star, highlight all the points, and then drag this dot to the middle of your star. Now I admit, it's not the cleanest way of doing things, guys. It's not perfect. And if anyone in the comments knows how to do this better, please do tell me. Because this was, there wasn't that much info in tutorials that I found online about this. So, double click, highlight, drag the green guy, take that into the center. Okay, that's pretty perfect now. Cool. So now we're going to drag this star back into this circle here. Logo, star. And I'm going to drag that into here. And then I'm going to go into here. And I'm going to go center, center, center. Oh no, I royally messed this up. There must be a better way of moving all these points. I've got the same problem with this circle now. Remember, the star needs to be above to make sure this works. Okay. So we have now got this back to normal. Let's make sure that this star is perfectly aligned. Okay, cool, fine. Now, what we should find after that very long-winded process is if we click plus base state, we've got 0, 0, 0 on all these axes. If we click rotate on here, we should be able to see this changing. Nice. Okay, cool. Let's put that back to 0. What's going on there? Star base state. That is nuts. Something's gone wrong. Oh, not that one. Not that one. It is Z. Okay, that glitched out, but we're okay. Okay, so base state is here. State we're going to change to 360, and then we're going to click the plus, transition, star, and then we can change this to whatever we want. I'm going to make it 2, and then I'm going to change this to ease. Okay, so we've now got a pretty interesting little animation going. I actually make that might make that minus 360. Might make that a little bit longer. Let's make that 3 seconds. Ooh, mama, that's nice. Okay, cool. Now, what I'm going to also do is I'm going to make this whole thing spin as well. So if I click on the actual group there, we've got logo, base state, and then state. Base state we're going to keep 0. State we're going to do minus 360. And what I might do is actually make that a transition of 2.5 seconds rather than 3. And what that means is we're going to see the end of the logo with the inner star turning. Let's try that out. Ooh, I like that. That looks nice. Hold on. Love it. Okay, that's nice. Cool. I sound really surprised because, you know, you got to play with these things and it normally doesn't look good first time, but that kind of looks good. Okay, so I'm going to now have these letters going down. They're going from a state below to a state above. Now you can do that quite easily by actually adding a rectangle and putting that just below the space where the text is going to be. And if we make this the same color as the background, then what you'll see is if it looks like this is just coming out of a clipped path, but actually this is just above this scene. So how do we do that? Well, we can change the Z position to something like let's make that 400. Just to be safe, let's go 450. Okay, so now we've changed this to be Z position in front of this text. So if we now move this up, you'll see what I mean. It's going to essentially hide the text from below. So all the text is going to be below, and then it's going to go bing, 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 one after the other. How do you do that? Well, we're going to make this the same color as the background again. And then we're going to click on each individual letter and give it a state. So state, base state is going to be minus 400. And it's hidden. Nice. Okay, so base state, minus 400. Just going to do that with each letter. Base state, minus 400. Now you can see why I've named all the letters, because otherwise it can get a bit confusing. N, base state, minus 400. C, base state, minus 400. Now these are all below, so how do we get them to ping up at the same time that the animation is going? Well, this is playing on start, okay? So the second we click play, it's playing. And that is a 3-second animation. So what we want is each of these letters to come up one after the other. Now what we can do is we can go from base state to state of position 0 on the y-axis and give that a start time. Give that a start time of 0.5 seconds. So ease, just so it's consistent with the other animation that we've got. And then we're going to give it a delay of 0, which means that it's going to come up at the same time. Now that looks kind of rubbish, but wait until we do the other letters. It might look a little bit better. So we're going to go base state is minus 400, state is 0. And then we're going to give it start time of 0.5, animation ease, and then delay 0.25. We're going to do exactly the same thing for each letter, but giving them 0.25 second increase, if that makes sense. So we've got base state, minus 400, state, 0. Click start, animation, 0.5 seconds, delay, 0.5. Ease, there. So it's a little bit fiddly, guys, but I promise the effect will be worth it, okay? State, transition, 0.5, 0.75, ease, N, state 0. Oh my god, this is so fun, isn't it? Just watching me do this. 1, ease. Sorry about the cops outside, if you can hear the sirens. It's a pretty dangerous neighborhood I'm in. Okay, there we go. Start, transition, C, 0.5, 1.25 I believe we were on then. We'll soon find out. Okay, the moment of truth. Oh, that looks good. Okay, let's play that one more time for the people at the back. Oh! Okay, so one thing I'm noticing is that this animation on the left stops just after everything else. So maybe what I should do, this is 1.25 delayed, and it's 0.5 seconds for the actual animation to happen. Which means that if I make this end on 1.75 seconds, then we'll be looking good. And I also want the star animation to end maybe 2 actually. Maybe it can end just after. Ooh, that looks nice. I like that. Okay, let's try that one more time. Bush. Bush. Okay, I think that's good. Nice. Cool. I really like that. That looks great. Okay, cool. And that's how you can do an animation in Spline for your logo. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy complicated. You can just have something as simple as, you know, a cover. So we've got this that just clips the path, basically. We've got this logo icon. We've got this text. Let's say we just wanted the logo icon to rotate, right? So I'm going to call this demo. And I'll make this clonable as well if you guys actually want it to be. And then I'm going to duplicate that file. And I'm just going to get the logo itself. So I'm going to delete the text. I'm going to delete the ellipse. I'm going to delete that. And all I've got is the logo. I don't even need directional light because our matte cap is providing that textured effect. Makes it look like light is beaming on it, but actually it's not. It's just the matte cap itself. So cool. Okay, so, well, it's cool in my little world. You can see people being like, oh, this guy's such a loser. Yeah, I am a loser. Okay, we got states here. Let's say we just wanted to 360 rotate just infinitely, right? We got base state and we got state. If we change this to 360, you're like, no change. That's because this and this looks exactly the same, but the difference is it's just flipped all the way around in one fell swoop. Transition, 3 seconds. Let's make that ease to keep it consistent. And then we're going to click on loop, infinite, cycle, ping pong. You see that's changed these little icons in here. What that's going to do is it's going to make it go 360 looping. Okay, interesting. We seem to have a problem with this star. Let's make this star more like 400. And then let's see what's going on here. Star, have I got the star animation playing as well? Transition star 2. Let's make that 3. Start. Infinite. Ping pong. That seems to be messing up the animation. That's interesting. Why is that? Is that just because it's taking too long to load? Let's turn off this animation and see if that makes any difference. We've got a star, extrusion 400, extrusion 500. So that seems to be working now. Let's have a look at this. Okay, that seems to be working. Maybe it was because I changed the star animation extrusion on only the base state and not the actual, not the secondary state, which might have messed up the animation. Just be careful that when you're changing stuff in here, that you're not doing it, that you're doing it to both states, sorry, if you want it to actually happen. Because otherwise you can mess up your animations. You might be like focusing on all these little animations on one particular thing and then realize that it's not affecting the other states. To change that, you can actually right click on state, and then you can say push changes to base state, which can be helpful if you need to change everything, or you can just simply reset. The other cool thing to know is that you can actually do multiple different states. So say you want base state to go 360 spin. That's going from base state to state. So let's change this. Whoop. See, I'm doing it again. You got to be careful what you click on here, guys. Okay, so let me get rid of that. We're not doing this on the star, we're doing that on the group. Base state to state, and then we got state 2 here. So base state to state is 360. Then state, we're actually going to go from there 360. Actually, I think let's leave it like that. So now it's going to go spin, 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 if that makes sense. So if I go like, if I click on the start, transition logo, 3 seconds. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of ping pong. And now it's just back to this. If I go from, so base state to state 2, and that's going to be 3 seconds. And I'm going to change that to ease. Okay, so we got base state to state 2. Let's have a little look at how that looks. State. Nice. Okay, not exactly what I was wanting. Let's change that. So we got base state to state. And then let's change that. I want to change the x-axis to 360. I think that is going to do it. There it is. Okay, so you can see we got multiple different states here, multiple different actions that are happening, and you know you can do a lot of damage with this. You can have a lot of fun. You can also change the background to also animate. So let's say we wanted to have, I don't know, some kind of gradient behind. Let's give this some kind of mad gradient. I think we need a kind of ready gradient, don't we? Actually, I quite like that color combo. Maybe a warmer one. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, let's try this. So let's say you're like, cool, we've now got this cool animation happening in the background. Now I want this rectangle, I want some kind of gradient background effect, okay? So let's try that. So we've got a gradient here that's covering the whole screen. And we can change the gradient like so. So we've got the states here. Again, state, you've got the base state, and then you've got state now. So if we go down to gradient pastel 1, let's say we want this red to cover the screen, and let's change this to say 0. Let's make it world origin Y106 near far. I want that to be far further. Okay, so we've changed these anchor points. We've now got this at 100 over here. So you see how, ooh, I've accidentally added a new point. You see how we've got a lot of play that we can have in here. Ooh, I kind of like that. Okay, so let's see how that looks. Plus, at transition, let's make that 3 seconds. Let's see how that looks. No, just look red to me. Ah, it's because I've done that to the base. So I just click there, push changes to base state. Now we've got the base state like that. Cool. So now I want the red to push more like that. So now when I click this, flowing red across. I know that that's insanely ugly, but you get my point. You know, you can play with the backgrounds, with the logos, and the more you kind of build on these different elements, the more interesting and complex it can get. You know, you can also add a displacement layer to make things rather interesting. Let's make that 50. actually, what we could give that 100 extrusion. Okay, now I'm just being annoying, but you get what I mean. Add some different different noise. Oh, not gradient, noise. You know, you can play, just have fun. You know, you can do loads of cool stuff with this. As you play, you know, you might be like, oh, you know, we could do something that feels like really different and like unlike any other branding you've ever seen before. You know, that's what's so fun about Spline, in my opinion, is like suddenly you can create pretty trippy things in a very short space of time that you would just never be able to necessarily create if you're doing a traditional brand identity without having some kind of 3D or movement elements. Hope that helps, guys. In the next video, we are going to learn how to export this in different ways, so stay tuned.